Welcome to 90 Degree Turns. I'm your host, Trisha Marcus. Allow me to guide you into your own endless soul expansion as we connect to your heart, discover balance, awaken to healing, and embody your soul's deepest expression. For those of you hungry to expand your mind's beliefs and perspectives, welcome home. Caressa Ayres, founder of iFlow Studio, is a Shin Jyutsu energy medicine practitioner, sound healer, spiritual intuitive, and conscious alignment facilitator dedicated to seeking truth, multidimensional healing, upgrade human potential, and enjoyment in life in order to assist in the transformation of personal and planetary evolvement by being the light that you are. Her business is her lifestyle. With 27 years of experience in holistic well-being, bioenergetic study, and focus on her favorite advancement healing tools, Shin Jyutsu and sound healing, the intention of her business, iFlow, an affirmation in itself, is to inform and navigate perspective, reawaken organic innate intelligence and healing ability, inspire collective creative capabilities aligned in heart-based consciousness, and to remind humanity of the power of love. Practicing both physical and spiritual tools since childhood, Caressa embodies a loving, kind, and compassionate presence, guiding others on their healing and ascending journey. Shin Jyutsu, physio philosophy, described as the art of knowing thyself, is a gentle ancient Japanese healing art, using breath, hands, and awareness to heal deep trauma and integrate source energy in the body. Caressa has been formally trained in JSJ by 12 of the 22 original instructors in the world. Her passion also for music laid the foundation for her career as a Pro Tools recording engineer and sound editor for film and TV. Thus, combining the wisdom of light and sound healing, Caressa uses a collection of instruments, creating a cosmic symphony of healing tone frequencies, bathing you in the vibrations of soothing sonic resonance that create harmony, realigns the body, and can even shift one into altered states of consciousness. She offers online international Shin Jyutsu healing workshops, private JSJ healing sessions in Boulder, Colorado office, and gives sound healing journeys at nationwide retreats, conferences, private events, and festivals including Disclosure Fest, Dimensions of Disclosure, and Star Knowledge Conference.
This episode is made possible by Merlin's Lab. Merlin's Lab has all your Orgonite pyramid needs with fully customizable orders. Protect your home, clear the energy, and have more restful sleep and overall well-being with Merlin's Lab Orgone Pyramids. Get yours now.
Everyone, I am here on episode 40 with Caressa Ayres. How are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you doing, Trisha?
I'm so well. I'm excited for our conversation today because you have a very interesting healing art modality called Shin Jyutsu. And I believe it originates from Japan. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So I would love to know what this art is, and we can go into how you cross paths with it later on. But what is it for everyone starting off?
Well, Shin Jyutsu is an ancient Japanese healing art that dates back to like 712 AD and the Kojiki records, but it is a combination of many different studies brought together. It's similar to acupuncture without the needles, except you use your hands and you work it along the meridians. And it is a healing art that you can go see a practitioner for. And I have people lay on my table for an hour, and I use my hands to go through and listen to the body's energetic pulses and wait for them to harmonize and move to different parts of the pathway, harmonize until it opens up the full pathway, allowing that life force or light or chi or prana or whatever you want to call it through there. In Japanese, it's called ki energy. And so it is similar to acupuncture or even the same types of things. Well, maybe acupressure has been another way that some people have described it, although there is no manipulation or massaging or anything like that. I literally just close my eyes and I listen to the body with this part of my hands.
So it's like a hovering over rather than physically
Wow.
maneuvering people.
Right. It's no movement or manipulation. But my hands are on the body. So
Okay. Oh, I
I'm
see. I see.
listening to the body. Yeah. So just through different areas. And there are the words Jin Shinjitsu itself translates to the art of the creator through man of compassion. And it's a healing art that is our innate ability that we can do on ourselves as well. So after I give someone a session, I also show them what areas on the body that they can hold to continue with what we worked on. So the healing art also is really another one of the core foundations of this healing art is all about our breath, because every exhale is the release, helps the energy to descend down the body, making room for new life force energy to enter on the inhale. So the energy ascending and descending with your breath. And that breath is basically a filter through the body. So when you know where to put your hands in the body, because there's 26 of these safety energy locks, they're called, like little energy centers in the body. So some help to move down the exhale, some help with the receiving and the inhale. So yeah, I give people stuff to work on themselves when they're done with this, but it's kind of like having the manual to your body, spirit, and mind. If you want to work on relieving some back pain, you relieve back pain. If you got stung by a jellyfish, there's something else for that. Or if there's mental, emotional stuff happening, there's something to hold for that. And then having this harmony and creating the harmony really in the body where there is any kind of obstruction or maybe stored trauma or injury. When we open up these pathways, it allows the body instrument to be tuned, really. So that's really what we're going for here, is we're tuning this body instrument so that the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual is ringing its song. So we're able to be the light that we are, and we're singing our soul song in a sense.
Awesome.
Kind of
So
jumped around there a little
no,
bit.
but there's so many points we can cover. So then, since this was founded long ago in the Japanese culture, it probably crossed paths somehow with like traditional Chinese medicine. I'm guessing
Yes.
it's ancient, right? This is an ancient
Mhm.
art form.
Yeah.
So then the meridian system, does it follow the same meridian system that like traditional Chinese medicine follows? Or
I
is it there's
think
a unique different map that it goes for these energetic areas?
I think it's similar. It's just not accessing it with the same points. Like
Mm.
the needles in acupuncture are probably, because there's liver function energy. There's 12 main organ flows. So we like acupuncture, I listen to the pulses. I listen for what organ function is talking to me. So yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So then, so when you do this, this modality, then, what are some like, let's say the top things that people come to you to do this type of to work? Because to me, this is the first time I'm hearing of this modality. So I'd love to know what can you use it for? You mentioned there's back pain or emotional trauma. Um, yeah, I'm just curious.
Well, just to give you some examples, when I was first introduced to this in 2003, and I didn't become a practitioner and have my practice started until 2010, because I was going to school to be a recording engineer previous to studying this deeply. But so my first couple of clients coming in, my first client was a gentleman that had Parkinson's for 15 years. And my second client that I had was a woman who had late stage or stage 4 ovarian cancer. So I thought I was going to start with like headaches and some simple things. And I meet with a group of women, or a group of men and women practitioners throughout the years. And so I was joking around about that. And they're like, well, God's not going to give you what you can't handle. And I was like, okay, I accept that. And I will step in and be of service in that way. But I do see clients who are dealing with cancers. I have couples that are trying to have babies. I deal with a lot of sexual abuse and even just physical accidents as well. But I think a lot more so would be the deep rooted stuff that's in the soul, in a sense. I feel like a lot of people come to me after they've tried everybody else. They're like, what is this healing art? Um, but then even just simply enough, just to, it's so de-stressing and relaxing that if someone's in a transition in their life, like maybe going through divorce. I'm kind of like a life coach, spiritual coach in a sense, mixed with this type of healing art as well. But and I work with kids with autism or just trouble focusing, just people in general that feel like they're missing something in life and want to connect to that place inside them or remember who they are, or lots of dealing with anxiety and depression. Also too, I have people that come in and just are feeling good and they just want to be able to enhance what they have and connect on greater levels to awakening their conscious awareness. And so I have really, I never know who is walking in with what. In Jin Shin Jyutsu, we call them projects, not problems. So I just, usually I'm there, someone shows up, and then sometimes most of the time I will say there's been a lot of really heavy, it's very deep work, really. It's like soul work on many levels, because stuff that is inside of us that may be from childhood, that may be from relationships, or that wherever it's coming from, it gets lodged in our cellular memory. And so I go to sometimes the cellular memory of the event, which could have happened in childhood. You just don't know. It's like, when people come in, I have them fill out an intake form, which goes through everything. What kinds of foods do you eat? Are you optimistic or pessimistic? What's your blood type? How much do you exercise? What kind of exercise? Do you have any traumas or experiences that you would like to share with me? And I just have a whole checklist that people can go through, and it's a wide variety of different symptoms somebody might experience. And so I use that. And then I talk with them about what they have filled out for their intake form. And then I get them on the table and I listen to what I hear in the wrist. And for myself, I don't always tell everybody this, but for the last 12 years that I've been in practice, I do say a prayer for guidance to what's in the best interest of my client on the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual levels. And then I just allow guidance really to move through me. So, like, I'll do something else when have my hand somewhere, and it always works out to be the most wonderful, perfect thing. And
right
that
for
was
what that
needed.
person needs. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really, really, really lovely to hear that there is just, it can cover such a different range of people and their life stories. And I do find it really interesting when you mentioned how like trauma and everything can be stored in the cellular memory, because
Mm-hmm.
it really is. And whether we're conscious of it or not, it is imprinted into our cells. And so until we release it in one way or
Mm-hmm.
another, whether it's this modality or some other method, it will create an impact unconsciously in this life, right? So very,
Yeah, I mean,
very
there's some
deep work,
beautiful
truly.
modalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some beautiful modalities that are very effective. I feel like I've studied a lot of modalities in these last 27 years, and Jin Shin Jyutsu and sound healing are really my two favorite, and that's why I'm doing them, practicing both of those. Um, and so it's also just like in the cellular memory, but you think of being in the womb, from womb to womb to womb, and generation, it's like wired in the energetic signature of your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of work also will go and to those levels deep as well, and be reworking that energetic signature, because what we can heal for ourselves in this moment, then we set that now in this place, and then generation coming following forward has
New
a
template
new,
to work off of.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely agree. So I'm curious then. I did see some videos about the Jin Shin Jitsu before to our conversation here, and a lot of people focused on the hands. And so I was
Hmm.
curious if there's like a reflexology map on the hands, where like kind of similar to how people look at a reflexology map of the feet, and if you
Hmm.
can connect that way, or is it better to work with the full body, rather than just like a more focused hand system? So what's your take on that?
Well, Jin Shin Jitsu is a healing art. So there's not a specific technique. Each practitioner uses the tools that they have, and then it's this art project, right? And so the hands are really little quickie shortcuts. So on this main chart, I send everyone the charts. I send everyone the charts on the hands and this 26 safety energy lock showing the body, showing where all these energy centers are in the body. So you can either, I'll use a combination of these 26 centers, which are on each side. So there's 52. I use a combination of these to work entire pathways. For my clients, I'll give them, I'll say, like, hold your 22s right here. For example, your 22s are all about being present and content in the now moment. This is good for your sinuses as well. And they say all 144,000 energetic pathways run through this area. So I teach people how to listen to the body, and you start to notice how to feel those pulses yourself and bring them into balance. So you can either hold on the area of the body that I would suggest, or you can access each of those 26 safety energy locks through the fingers. So, for instance, the thumb is the stomach spleen energy, and when that comes into balance the function that goes through stomach spleen energy, right?
Okay.
And you're also helping when that's harmonizing, you're releasing worry. So, kidney, bladder helps release fear, liver, gallbladder helps release anger, lung and large intestines helps release sadness and grief. The pinky is the heart and the small intestines, and that helps to release the pretense, like the trying all the time. Then you have you can hold in the center. This is the try instead of just being in the moment. There's no need to try. You just be and be in flow. So then you have the center as the umbilicus and the diaphragm, and that's just about total peace and harmony in there. So even if you don't remember what the fingers represent, the body knows what it needs, and you can just simply go to whatever you're drawn to.
Okay.
A lot of times I just tell people to grab a finger and hold a finger, and then I just see what's going on with them just by the finger that they chose.
Oh, just
Or
naturally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, parts of our healing. You can't heal yourself with the same thinking that made you sick. So with my clients, I have 30 minutes talk time and then a 60-minute session with the Jin Shin Jitsu.
You have a
Mhm.
variety of words to say the same thing, even in English. You could have five different words for saying how you care, right? You care about someone or
Exactly.
something like that, right? Or show, or there's all these different like love languages, but that's on the side. But there's
Too, because I'll know what a word means, but I just for fun will go to the dictionary and see what exactly is it saying here. And is there something better to even choose that's more suitable or in alignment with where I want to take this or
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So then I would love to know, you did start a little bit about your story and how you got into Jin Shin Jitsu, but I would like to know what was like, what's the whole story then? Because you said you were doing sound engineering, and
Mhm.
then you found this healing art, but what's in between?
Well, when I was younger, my mom raised us on natural doctors and herbs and vitamins. Anytime something was going on with us, we were looking up vitamin books and trying to figure out what foods we should and shouldn't eat and things like that. And so she was pretty much the root foundation of that type of mentality, being holistic. And I've worked with chiropractors for a period of time when I was really young, like at 18 years old. And the next thing you know, I'm running a rehab, testing people's muscles, trying to work with their balance. And I was even taking x-rays there, doing new patient consultations, line drawings on the x-rays.
That's awesome. We
Everyone would be
just
like,
had a
how old are you?
chiropractor on our last episode too, so that actually works perfectly.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
we just had a chiropractor last week, so that's wonderful. Okay.
Well, it's so lovely about the work with chiropractic is because you think about, opening up those pathways. When you open up those pathways, it allows that communication to come in and communicate with every aspect of the body. So
Yes.
when you have the spine protected by the spinal or the vertebra, and it's like you have your spinal cord in there, and that's the communication line from your brain to every organ in the body
Yeah,
and
it
function.
branches out everywhere.
Yeah. So and so when that's not in perfect alignment, it does create troubles, and it shows up in different places in the body. So it's the same thing like with Jin Shinjitsu. What we're doing is we're opening up these pathways to allow this life force to move through, to open up what can also be like a connection from your consciousness to universal consciousness. And I think also too that when you have an optimal level of alignment, even with chiropractic, I think it opens up that as well on a deeper way. So then I got into practicing shamanism for 14 years. I don't call myself a shaman. I don't believe in going to weekend workshops for any type of thing and then being that label of things. But I was an apprentice with the sweet medicine path. And then that's like a combination of Cherokee, Navajo, Dakota, and Hopi. And so I've always, since I was little, would be outside speaking my heart to the sky, to the stars, to the trees, to the water. And I've always just really felt in alignment with the natural elements. And I am Cherokee Indian as well. So maybe just having a little bit in that brought that forth some. I'm not even sure. But then just after just I've always been into music as well since I was a little girl. So there was a point where I decided to become a sound engineer. And so I went to school to be a Pro Tools recording engineer. And it's just so interesting because I would really love looking at the waveforms, because after the recording engineer part was going on for maybe 6 years, I went into post-production work, and I was an editor for like dialogue editing, for example, for Saturday morning cartoons on CBS. And if there's any glitches or breath that was too much somewhere, I would go through and like fine tune everything. So I think about our bodies, how I do work now. I think about going in and finding where the little glitches are, what needs to be smoothed out so that it can play its nice flow, So in Jin Shin Jitsu, we call everything a flow, what we're doing, to open up and allow this flow to move through. But I was working in recordings too. So it's kind of like that waveform. If I heard something inside of there, I would stretch it out, look for the little part that wasn't correct, and I would redraw the line, squish it back together, and it'd be all smooth again. And it's interesting because I feel like that is related to, like I was saying, with the work of Jin Shin Jitsu and going through and finding out where the body needs a little fine tuning or harmony so that it can flow on all of its levels. But so after working in recording, while I was going to school to be a recording engineer, I had a friend that kept telling me, you need to meet this woman because she does Jin Shin Jitsu, and I know that you're really going to like it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to school to do this right now. And, eventually, I would love to. It sounds right up my alley. And I just kept putting it off, and then it just kept coming back. And then one day in 2003, there was an opportunity to meet her. And I did a little introduction workshop in 2003. And then I let her give me a session. She's a Reiki master, Jin Shin Jitsu practitioner, and all kinds of other super intuitive, really neat things that I've never met anyone capable of with such vast knowledge on this whole other level. But she was one of the very, very first people I've ever met in my life that I could ask her all these kinds of crazy questions that I've been pondering since I was little. Like, where do we come from? Like, all these
Right.
other
It's
kinds of
important to have
questions.
someone that you could just start asking, like, and kind of berating me, like, listen, I have all these thoughts and I haven't had a chance to share it with
Yeah.
anybody. Please hear me out.
Yeah. Or like understanding how my intuition or these gifts that have been coming through over the years, how to really know that it wasn't something that was crazy, it's like, so, you know, so then I started studying Jin Shinjitsu while I was working as a recording engineer. And I was combining that through. And so then that kind of, I just got so tired of working at the computer for 15 hours a day. That really wasn't where my soul was. Even working with music was great. It was like timeless. I would lose track of time being in a recording studio. But I just really wanted to do something on a greater level. I often have said, where do I need to be of greatest service? What kind of lifestyle can I have that's going to allow me to travel the world and be in my flow of things and really help other people? And so Jin Shinjitsu came back up again. And I was like, all right, I'm going to figure out where the next class is, how much it costs, and all this stuff. And it wound up that I called the headquarters, which is in Scottsdale, Arizona. And they said, in like another week or two, the next class was starting, and it was in Marina Del Rey, California, where I was living. So I could literally walk to the class from where I lived. And I just thought all these different things. There's a few different things that had happened around that time that just felt like signs to go. And so I went to that first class and never stopped practicing. And I've studied with, there's about 22 or 23 teachers in the world. I've studied with 12 of them.
Wow, that's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have your books that you receive in the beginning of your first class, and then you take your books with you, and then you can go anywhere in the world. Really, if I wanted to go to Australia and take the class with one of these teachers, I could go there, or Switzerland or Germany or any place in the world. So I would find out where certain teachers were going to be that I wanted to study with. I kept it affordable also, but I picked places like Mount Shasta. I did one of my classes there. I did them in Sedona. I like to go to the energetic places and be learning such a neat healing art. And so then I never looked back. I just kind of moved out of the sound engineer aspect and going right into Jin Shinjitsu, which is it's tuning our body instrument to sing our soul song, really. And I still felt there, because everything is really, sound and light vibration. And Jin Shinjitsu goes in deeper in that, because I wanted to share also that's something interesting about those areas in the body, those 26 safety energy locks. They each have a color, a number, a season, an element, a taste, a smell, a planet, an astrology sign, a music note, things like that. It's so,
That's
because
really fascinating. I wish we had one of those books and we could just like read it and share like all the different parts. Can I ask you, does the astrology signs, does it acknowledge like the 13 signs or just the 12?
I believe just the 12 on that, because honestly, we don't go into deep study of the astrological signs. There is a teacher, Wayne Hackett, who goes more into astrology and numerology. Each teacher also has their special little way of what they might tie it into.
The focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as like, I just can go through and say, oh, this area has this astrology sign. But actually, I would think that being such an ancient healing art, I would imagine it having the 13. It's a good question to bring up. So now these are the kinds of things, the master is always the student learning, and even though I've been doing it for a long time, there's still a lot of things that newly come up. So I'm going to actually check on that part.
Yeah,
That
to find
is an
out.
interesting question.
Let us know. I'm just out of my own curiosity, but that's neat. So these 26 activation points. They cross over so many different, I guess, further, I don't know what you call them, information, other, just further details. You can get more depth from it. It's not just that it's an energy point or like a vortex in the body. It has more
Right. It really
information
does.
beyond it.
Yeah. It's it's like it can even certain organ functions in the body can be good for people who might like not feel confident in their self image
Hmm.
and need more confidence, or maybe someone is way overconfident and you're like you need to
Tone it down.
be a little humble. Which is, so it's always about balancing everything out, harmonizing things. You know, something's too much, let's bring it back a little bit. Something's too little, let's enhance it a bit, you know. But so during the Jin Shinjitsu practice, um, since music's been such a huge part of my life, I just I love the sound of so many different instruments. And I used to, when I was younger, when I was a little girl, just go walk around humming often. So a lot of the work I do is vocal stuff in the sound healing parts. And then when I got into had a Pro Tool system at my house, I could put my headphones on and just put a track on with a microphone, and I would just sit there and mesmerize myself for hours, just doing singing different tones and things. So the next thing you know, I started getting a couple bowls here and there, or drums, and then it was just like gathering this collection of things that I have now. And so I I give sound healing journeys every month, probably for the last 5 or 6 years. I give them on the moons, usually full moon, new moon, eclipse, solstice, equinox,
And we just
Lions
had a
Gate
full moon
portal.
as well, right? So you
Yeah.
had a whole experience for that weekend, right?
Yeah, I did for the full moon spring equinox, had a gathering for that.
And how did
And
that
then
go?
next month that was great. It was really great. I have since I've been in Colorado for the last 3 years, I have some people who have been that come to everyone for the last 3 years, and then a lot of new people, and then they're bringing friends. So I figure whoever shows up is who's meant to be there in the gathering to have ceremony together. I love facilitating ceremony and getting into our hearts and having discussions, because we do share at the end of them as well, either about what they experienced in their journey, or I also, in the beginning of the sound healings, like to see where everyone is at and have an intention and share a bit of a message, whether it's something involving our planet or something that's going to work with our self healing or whatever's going on in the world. Like my company, my business is called I Flow, and that's all about how we are in our beingness, how we flow in our life. And so you work to harmonize the self first, so and find the flow within and the center. That way the people that are in relationship with you directly, you have better flow with them, and then that just extends out on universal levels, as we have all this energy coming in that's constantly changing and will forevermore for the rest of our days. Like how are we able to flow in our day to day? It starts right here by knowing thyself. And that's a big part of Jin Shinjitsu too. It's in all the books about knowing thyself. And when you know where that is, and you can work to navigate no matter what's coming to you from that center point, you can navigate the direction that you're going.
I absolutely agree. And I feel like you said, it's knowing oneself is a journey that goes on and on for forever, whether it's this
Yeah.
life or the next. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so let's say some for our audience here, let's say people are kind of like in an up and down place in their lives, right? There is a lot going on in the world. If you listen to the news, there's constantly bombardment of XYZ new thing to pay attention to. So what do you suggest then for people who want to feel more centered and more grounded? Is there a particular point that they could put pressure on for themselves? If they're not local to Colorado, then what can someone do to just kind of feel more grounded when the world seems to be falling apart or significantly changing so quickly?
The first thing that comes to my mind is get out into nature. I think that is one of our most amazing grounding tools that just sets us straight in a sense, being by trees or water, or just getting out in that fresh air. And I think it's real important to work with our breath as well, because the breath is the filter that helps to release what's being in there that's creating any kind of tension. And so in Jin Shin Jyutsu, you can choose to hold any of these areas in the body while you're breathing. So the thing with Jin Shin, you have your safety energy locks that you work with. You work with your hands and your breath and your intention. The hands are like jumper cables, and what you're doing is you're working to charge these energy centers in the body. Every day you plug in your phone to charge your battery, you work on yourself and you're charging your body battery. And it's most of my clients, when I ask them if they've done their self-help stuff, they forget to do their self-help. It's because it is a lifestyle, pretty much they'll do it if something's really causing aches or pains or have an emotional moment, they'll remember to do things. But I do really like this one right here, the 22s that I mentioned about being present and content in the now moment. And so if it's just right underneath your collarbones right there, and you're just using this part of your hands to lay them on there. Okay. So you don't have to rub or anything at all. You just
gently place it. Okay.
And it's important to be breathing through the nose on the inhales and on the exhales through the nose. You're bringing that life force in through the body. When you breathe through your nose on the inhale, the oxygen goes all the way up to brain to stimulate the nutrients up there. And then when you exhale, if you're exhaling back in through the body, you just exhale and just visualize that breath, that life force. Your breath is your life force. So you are moving that life force in through the body. You can visualize igniting your cells. You can visualize optimizing your organs. You can visualize moving your lymph system, enhancing your blood. So those are a couple of things that as I like to I used to wear contacts for 7 or 8 years and glasses. And I started doing this thing about visualizing cellular rejuvenation in my eyes. I was also juicing a lot. It's a combination of things. It's not just one thing or the other. It's using the breath. It's using the mind. It's using the practices that you can use of like either Jin Shin Jyutsu or sound healing or any other kinds of modalities. It's eating good foods. It's getting out into nature. It's a combination of all these tools. You have your physical tools, your mental, emotional tools, your spiritual tools. And it's about practicing one or all of them every day, something,
You say it's
no matter
creating a
what's
lifestyle, right? Like it's
you
stepping into a whole new version of you using these different modalities or whatever suits you.
Yeah. And it helps us, like if we're having a bad day, how to get through the bad day, or maybe there's a lot of energy coming in, a lot of light coming in, and it might be feeling stuck in the body and the aches and pains. So it's these types of things help to integrate, help to release, help to restore, regenerate, enhance, stimulate, let go, whatever it is you need to do in the moment. The other area I like to hold a lot are your 13s right here. And this on each side of the sternum. And this is love thine enemy. And this is all about self-love here. And I think that that's really the core of where I see lots of people struggling, because it's hard to really have compassion and kindness outside of you to the people that you're in contact with if you don't have that within. And that self-love is really one of the hardest things for people to achieve, especially based on upbringing and childhood. If they've had, many people who seem like they're doing super awesome may still struggle with self-worth, have doubt and things like that. But just holding on this area, because so much is stored behind that sternum in our heart that they say that holding in this area is kind of like melting the iceberg that's right here.
I love that.
Yeah. And then you don't have to even do much. You just use your hands and you hold right here and you breathe through your nose. You can close your eyes and just sit with it. I think just practicing a little bit I would like to do it first thing in the morning when I wake up every day. I'm walking through my main central. I'm doing spleen function energy, whatever I need for the day.
Tuning
But
the
I've
whole
been,
body for like
yeah, I work
optimal
on
function.
myself regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I can
So you're
tell over
practicing what you preach, you know? I mean, that's how you're.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Because the better I am for myself also allows me to be a better practitioner and guide or support for others. So I practice what I preach. I exercise regularly. I eat well, and I also splurge because you can't not have things like dark chocolate and
Yeah.
the goodies every once in a
What
while.
would life be without some dark chocolate? Really.
Every time I eat, I'm like, this is so good for me. All this magnesium. This is a love feeling.
The true like cacao that's in there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for the body and just joy and happiness. That's why
Yeah.
take it, you know. But that's wonderful. So I love also that your business is called iFlow because that's like a whole. You're already without people being conscious of it. They're already reading an affirmation, which I think is so neat.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it so much. So where can we connect with you, Caressa? You said you're located in Colorado. Do you have like an office, like a brick and mortar office? Do you more do like house calls, or you just have events? What is your business setup?
Well, I have an office currently in Boulder on Pearl Street. So people
For the
can come
street,
see
all the
me
live
for
music. Mhm.
people can come for private sessions there. I am going to be, since COVID, like a lot of stuff just stopped happening. But now that we're through a lot of that, I was still having sound healing journeys, honestly, because I was like, this is all healing. This is boosting our immune system. We're still meeting for things. Who's on the same page? I don't know if I get in trouble for saying things like that, but I promote that everyone be working on boosting their immune system no matter what. So, but I have a site, iflowstudio.com. It's in the process of a big update right now. So it's not, that should be coming back refreshed. Had that website since 2013, and I thought I need to add a few little things on there.
Okay.
I am on Facebook too under Caressa Ayres or even iFlow Studio as well. But there and on the website and sometimes posting on Facebook and things like this, I will be announcing when I am doing workshops because I give workshops on introduction to Jin Shinjitsu, particular aspects of maybe what subject matter I notice more people going through, whether it be a lot of anxiety, there might be a class for that, a class on hand mudras or sound and how that's healing for us. So workshops, I give retreats. I do my own retreats as well as joining others. For the sound healing, that's every month here in different venues that I like to. There's Valley Soul Sanctuary, which is a lovely, beautiful venue, and another studio that I use regularly. But if anyone is in this particular area, they're welcome to join on any of these workshops. And then I'll be putting some more online as well. I don't know as much as sound healing stuff online because there really is something special about that in person.
Yes.
But so online workshops and then even conferences and festivals coming up. So I'll be doing sound healing journey at Disclosure Fest in June.
Okay.
There's a few other things on the table coming too. I'm just waiting for
Final arrangements.
negotiations
Okay.
to be
Well,
finalized.
I think
There's a lot coming up.
It's been such a wonderful conversation, Caressa, and I know that we met last year during a conference in where was it in Colorado? Oh, Colorado Springs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. That's why how I got introduced to you, and it was wonderful to hear you do the sound bowl and the vocal singing, and it just really made everyone there, I feel like, just centered and ready to start the conference. So thank you for the work that you do and for sharing this art, and I hope that we can catch you during a future event. And like I said, if anyone is in the Boulder area, hopefully they can see the work you do in person. And any links for you will be below in the bio. So if anyone wants
Okay,
to
great.
connect with Caressa here, um, feel free. And it's been wonderful to chat with you. Thank you so much.
You too, Trisha. Thank you so much for your time and for this opportunity.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.